So this lesson is on function notation, which just means how we write stuff. It's not hard, you just have to learn how things get written. When it is written like this, it is said f of x, and it replaces the y. So just instead of y equals, you're going to have f of x equals. Why on earth would we do that, Miss Cole? That's more confusing. Well, here's the reason why. If you have 6 functions and they're all y equals this, y equals this, y equals this, how do you tell which one you're actually talking about? It's like having 6 kids and they all have the same name, okay? But if you can call one of them f of x and one of them g of x and one of them h of x, then you have names for them and you know which one is which, okay? So that's the point, all right? So that's why we do this. So here's our function, f of x equals, think of it as y equals 2x minus 3, find the following. When it says f of negative 2, it does not mean multiplication. It is a replacement. Everywhere you see an x, you're going to replace it with a negative 2. And I always say give it a hug. What I mean is put parentheses around it. So we're going to plug negative 2 in for x. So it is going to look like this. You're taking out the x and you're replacing it with negative 2. And then you have to do some math. So I'm going to see who knows their multiplication tables and how to deal with negatives and stuff. Not that you aren't allowed to have a calculator, but I just want to check. 2 times negative 2. Good, that's negative 4. Now be careful because these are both negative. Negative 4 minus 3, it's going to become more negative. It's negative 7. Good. All right, so this one, you're going to do f of 7. You're going to take out the x and replace it with 7 and give it a hug when you plug it in. And again, you're allowed a calculator, but I just want to see who knows their times tables. 2 times 7, 14. Minus 3 is 11. Now, I heard somebody say, where did we get the 2? It's right here. It's part of the equation. 2x minus 3. So let's try one more. We're going to plug in negative 4 for x. So it's going to be 2 times negative 4 minus 3. So what would be 2 times negative 4? Negative 8. Good. Negative 11. Wait, did I do that right in my head? Yeah. Okay. Now, I want to show you how you can actually type this in the calculator. Let me share my screen. There we go. Well, you might if the numbers get bigger. Can you look? If you type f of x equals, what was it, 2x minus 3? You all looking? You have to look. Do you see how I just typed it exactly like it looks on the paper? 2x minus 3. And then if I type f of, what was one of the numbers we plugged in? Let's do the first one, negative 2. Do you see that? There's the answer right there. You paying attention? You might want this if the numbers get larger. What was another one we did? What was the second one? 7. You see if you plug in 7? You guys all see that? You can just type it in the calculator. Okay. I'm going to skip these next ones because it's the exact same thing. It's called K instead, but it's the same process. You would take 0 and plug it in for x. Take negative 1 and plug it in for x. Take 5 and plug it in for x. Okay. Now, sometimes there are multiple x's in the equation. When that happens, you have to replace both of them. So here, do you see how there's an x here and an x here? Again, you guys have to look. When I look out at you, like half of you aren't looking. You can't learn by not looking. You see how there's an x here and an x here? Yes. Okay, so we're going to plug in negative 3 to both of them. And again, give them a hug. Wherever you plug in the negative 3, just put parentheses around it. Now, when you do negative 3 squared, what that means is negative 3 times itself. That's what a squared means. So it's negative 3 times negative 3, which is going to be what? Well, it is positive, but 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. Again, you'd be allowed a calculator. I'm just checking. All right. And then same thing here. Negative 3 times negative 3 is going to be positive 9, negatives cancel, and then plus 5. So add that all up, what are you going to get? I think I heard somebody back there say it. 23. But let me show you how you can just use the calculator for it. Are you guys looking? Learn without looking, okay? I'm going to type f of x equals, what is it? X squared minus 3x plus 5. You guys see how I just typed it exactly the way it looks off the paper? And then down here, I'm going to type f of negative 3. Do you see that? 23. It's slight, right? Okay. I'm going to skip that one because it's the same exact thing. You would just plug in 5 instead, okay? Because we're not going to have time to do every single problem on this. All right, now this one, I'm going to just type it in the calculator. You're going to have to look because I can't have the paper and the calculator up there at the same time. I'm going to type f of x equals what? Read it to me. I just want to make sure you're paying attention. 5x minus 3, shush. All right, now I'm going to type in each one of those one at a time. What is the first one? Negative 2? There, fill it in. Negative 13. Do you see how I did that? That first block in the table is negative 13. Yeah, go ahead. Close that Chromebook. Thank you. Go ahead. No. Isn't that great? It's negative 13 for those of you saying you can't see. Do you see where I'm pointing with the cursor? I just wanted. Okay. And then what's the next one? Negative 1 is negative 8. And then 0 is negative 3. And then 1 is 2. I'm going to stop saying this because that's getting annoying, right? Like, you guys see what I'm doing here? 2 gives you 7. And then 3 gives you 12. So we just typed them all in one at a time, filled in the table. So it should look like that. Now we're going to graph those. They're not all going to fit on here. Like negative 13 isn't going to fit on this grid. Can you see a point on here that would fit? Like which one has small enough numbers that it'll fit? Go ahead. 1, 2 will fit. Do you see that? If you go 1 on the x-axis, 2 on the y-axis, you can put a point right there. I'll try and zoom in on just the grid. Can we get another one though? I'd like to have like at least, yeah, 0, negative 3 is going to fit. That's right there. I think everything else is going to kind of go off the grid. 2, 7 would be right here. That's only like 1 above. I mean, I guess you want to put that there. But if you connect them, oh my gosh, what does it look like? It says, what kind of function is that? Well, what do we get? Positive linear. I would even just take linear. I would even just take line. They make a line. I love that you said positive. Why is it positive? Because that was awesome. Perfect. Awesome. That was above and beyond. I wasn't even expecting you to say that. I was hoping someone would say it's a line. You guys like went above and beyond there. All right. Now these, what? Okay. Now these ones are super easy, but again, you have to look. There is no work for these. In fact, you don't even need the calculator. Can you close that Chromebook? What even is that? So you guys are going to have to look because I don't have a better explanation than, hey, there's the answer. Here's your table. Do you see how it says f of negative 3? Yeah. All you're going to do is on the x's find negative 3. What's the answer? 2. That's it. So this one says f of 20. All you've got to do is on the x's find 20. What's your answer? 0. Now this one says f of x equals 9. So you have to look at the f of x's and find 9. Do you see how it's 2? All right, and then this says f of x equals negative 1, 0. Do you guys see that there? But you have to see it. There's no work, so you have to look. You know what I'm saying? You have to actually look at it. All right, this one's the same as what we did on the front page. You would put this in your calculator and put in negative 5. So I'm going to skip that one so you guys have time to do your classwork. But this one, you're going to have to actually work this out. It says f of x is 5. What is x? Well, you're going to replace the f of x with 5. So it's going to look like that. 5 equals 2x minus 3. And then have you guys solved equations before? Did that in math 8, right? Solving equations? Okay. What would you do to both sides to start? Good. Plus 3, add 3, however you want to say that. What is that going to give you? Good. You okay back there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, yeah, you're good. I'm just making sure we're all together. There's a lot of you in here. All right, and then what's your last step? Yep, divide 2 and you get 4. That's your answer. So this one says f of x is negative 11. So again, you're going to replace the f of x with negative 11. So it's going to look like this. What? Right, but you have to read. So it is easy, but you have to read and pay attention. All right, then what are you going to do? Yeah, add 3. Oh my gosh, it's the same steps as the other one. It's like it's the same problem. Negative 11 plus 3. So it's be careful because it's negative. When you add, it's going to become less negative. Good. You'd be allowed a calculator, you know. All right, and then divide by 2, negative 4. Hanging in there? These, again, you're going to have to look. There's no work, but I don't have a better explanation than, hey, look it, here's the answer. This is our graph. It says f of negative 4. So here's what you're going to do. On the x-axis, you're going to find the negative 4. I'll zoom all the way in. Do you guys see this here? Ah. Good job. Negative 4. Now, do you see where that hits the graph? Where does negative 4 hit the graph? 1. Good. 1 is the answer. That's it? Yep. Let's try it again. F of 2. You're going to find 2 on the x-axis. Again, look where I'm pointing. Find where that hits the graph. Where does 2 hit the graph? Good job, guys. Nice. And then 0. 0's right here in the middle. Find where that hits the graph. Negative 3. You guys are awesome. Now look. You guys are like, oh, now we got it, but this one's different. So look, do you see how this says f of x equals negative 4? Yeah. It's backwards. So here's how I always tell everyone to do it. Draw a line here at negative 4. See where that hits the graph, and you want the x number. So you want where that hits the x-axis. So 1, do you see that there? That one was backwards. I will wait. Question? Let me come down here and we'll do one of these. Let's do 22. Again, we don't need to do every single problem on here, but do you see how this says f of x equals 5? What I'm going to do is draw a line at 5. Now there's actually 2 answers for this one. If I draw a line at 5, where does that hit the x-axis? It's asking for x. 1, good, and 5. Whoever said I'm stuck, did that make more sense? I don't know who said that. Okay, so here, if you have f of x equals 1, if you draw a line at 1, where does that hit the graph?
No,
it's 3. Do you see that there? 3. Yeah, exactly. Because it's all from the same graph. All right, last page. I think I just have some word problems on here. Word problems, yay. Ew. Word problems are the exact same as non-word problems, except they have units, like miles per hour and stuff like that. All right, so this function represents distance in miles a train is from its destination after X hours. You have miles and you have hours. How far away is the train after 8 hours? What's that? All you're going to do is plug in 8, but I can show you how to do it on the calculator. Look. Because some of the numbers are bigger. But this one was D, wasn't it? Oh, why do you think it was called D, though? Because if you read, good. All right, so D of X equals 1375 minus 110X. And then what am I gonna put in the next box down? You have to watch in order to learn. If you aren't looking, you're not gonna get it.
D.
D.
8.
Perfect. Do you see that? D of 8? What do we get? It's 495, but you're in the back. I'm glad you're talking to me. But now we want units because it's a word problem. So it's 495 what? Miles. Good job. All right, last one. This function represents cost in dollars, cash money, for buying X tickets. Why do you think it's C of X? Cost. Okay, again, that letter is just for naming it. So look, you have to look. If you don't look, you're not going to get it. All right, 17.5x minus 10. I think the minus, it didn't say there's a, oh, why is it minus 10? Read the question. $10 coupon. All right, what am I going to type in the next box down? It says how much for, yeah, C. 5 tickets. How much do you spend for 5 tickets? $77.50. Now just put a $sign in front of it for cash money. Last one is backwards. Do you see how it says how many tickets can you buy with $130? Okay, so this time we're going to put the 130 in for cost. Do you see what I'm pointing at? So it's going to be 130 equals 17.5x minus 10, and you have to solve it because this time you were given the money. How many tickets can you buy for how much money you've got? So what would you do to both sides? Plus 10. So what is that? 140? Yeah, divide 17.5. I don't know what that is off the top of my head. So let me type that in the calculator. Or does anyone want to give it a guess? 20 something? You know, estimation is a really good skill to have, like being able to know like, oh, it's around whatever. It is 8. Now it's 8 what, guys? 8 is at good tickets. What does the 17.5 represent?
The cost of the
Cost of a ticket.